Hi everybody, welcome back to Tunes Reviews. Today we are going to talk about the Show Me Your Spritz video tag that Mr. Ashton from GenSense tagged me in. Actually, Ashton and I have some pretty similar answers here and there, so what could they be? What could they be? As of recent, you have noticed, obviously, that my videos have been a little less edited, and the continuation of that will play through with this video. As quarantine has just made it so, it has been difficult to do the bells and the whistles. So I hope you all don't mind that this will be a little less edited and a little bit more chatty. So here we go. I hope you're all excited. Number one, the fragrance that I chased the longest. The fragrance that was the flame to my moth. Okay, so for this category, I could go with probably two. And it would be a tie between these two because I had searched long and hard for these two and finally came across them. And I don't own either one of them anymore. I actually ended up selling them both, which was very stupid of me, but this was a few years back. When I was 19 years old, again, that's 10 years ago, I had chased Escada Magnetism for about a year and a half trying to find a decent price on it, and I had found a 1.7 ounce and a 3.4 ounce bottle, both being sold on eBay together as a package deal for about $175 American. And that was a pretty great steal considering only the 50 ml was unsealed. So there was no cellophane, and it had been used maybe like 5 ml out of the bottle. So that one and M7 Fresh was really difficult to get my hands on. And even still, I'll look for both of these bottles every once in a while just for shits and giggles to see if my trigger finger gets a little itchy, you know? And I clicked a little clickety-clack button and purchased one of the two because I actually miss both quite a bit. Escada Magnetism is one that I miss a lot more than M7 Fresh. But yeah, those two were the ones that took me the longest to acquire, and I searched high and low for quite a little chunk of time. The newest fragrance house that I am getting sucked into as of late, the one that has been most alluring to me, is actually the same exact answer as Ashton. It is the House of Nishane, okay? Nishane is really, really impressing me as of late. I'm buying their bottles left and right. I think they're classy. I think they're sophisticated and fun, and I think that they really envelop and encompass a well-rounded luxury niche name for themselves. So, you know, the two that I have right here are Hassavat and 100 Silent Ways, which are both really incredible fragrances, neither of which is my favorite from the house. I do have my favorite as well, but that's a review that's coming up very, very shortly, so I will save that for now. But yeah, Nishane is a fragrance house that I have been really, really digging as of late, and for some reason I just can't get enough. I've been wearing this guy right here, 100 Silent Ways, like every other day. If you're a big fan of vanilla fragrances and a little bit more cotton candy, like Baccarat Rouge type fragrances, I think you should probably give this one a shot because it might be the new hype train. I don't know. Get on it before it gets ruined for you. The fragrance where I agree with the hype. Since this is like so impossible to narrow it down to just one, I chose three. And there are three from my era of coming into reviewing. So again, 10 years ago, what the biggest hyped fragrances were at the time. And so with this, it's also like a little nostalgia trip for me. And a lot of you that are newer probably don't really know as much about the hype unless you were really an avid viewer back then. You know, I think that these three fragrances really showcase a time and niche that is something of the past And I think that if we were to go back to this era of perfumery, we would have something very special. So I couldn't narrow it down to just one. I have three right here that really kind of fit the bill for this particular question for me. And first is Serge Lutens Chergui. This is my second bottle. What can you say about Chergui? It's a masterpiece. When I first started reviewing, there was only maybe like 10 reviewers, and this stuff was just hyped beyond belief. Every reviewer was talking about it, and for good reason. I absolutely adore it, and it has been hyped for good reason. Second, this. Now, by the way, there's a lot of hype fragrances during this time, okay? I had lived through Black Afghano being hyped, Pure Malt being hyped, Tobacco Vanille being hyped. Those were all fragrances that were hyped while I was reviewer. Aventus, my gosh. But these ones, just, oh my God. Guerlain, you guessed it probably. Tonka Imperial, okay? Tonka Imperial was hyped to a new level. It was deemed like the gingerbread fragrance, the Christmas time holiday fragrance, the fragrance, the next hot thing that you had to have, sexy, seductive, etc. Everyone was talking about it, and I couldn't agree more. It is something that I could consider a signature scent of mine any day of the week. I could, if someone stripped me away from my entire collection and just left me with that fragrance forever, I'd be okay with it, And last but not least, this guy right here, Musc Ravageur. This thing might be the second most hyped fragrance in all of the fragrance journey that I've experienced, because we have things like Dior Homme Intense, Pure Malt, the list goes on, but Musc Ravageur was deemed panty dropper of the decade, pretty much, okay? Now, while I don't agree with its label as being panty dropper, etc., I do agree that it deserves all of the hype in the entire universe, because this is a masterpiece. So if you haven't checked out Musc Ravageur, and maybe you're a little bit newer and you want to check out some fragrances that are a little bit more challenging, I highly recommend it. So those three are the ones that I would consider to be worth every single word of hype. Best blind buy that I ever had. Believe it or not, L'air de Désert Américain was a blind buy for me, because that one was obviously also hyped, and one of the fragrances that I consider to be like in the top 10 greatest masterpieces of all time, and I think a lot of people would agree with that. I blind bought it. I had never smelled it before. I just went based off of people like Robes 08 and Miguel and a lot of other people that were just hyping that thing up. And yeah, they weren't wrong. So L'air de Désert Américain by Andy Tower, who has a plethora of other amazing fragrances in his line. But that was my greatest blind buy. Which future purchase am I most excited for? I gotta tell you, I'm ecstatic. Now, I know that this isn't a new bottle for me, but I'm ecstatic for my second bottle of Back to Black to come in. I finished my Back to Black bottle nearly a year ago, and I'm just getting around to buying my second bottle of it. I'm really excited for that to come in the mail. And I finally pulled the trigger on Enchanted Forest by the Vagabond Prince. I don't know why it took me so long to purchase that fragrance, but I'm really excited to get that because I think it's perfect for spring. And yeah, those two are probably the ones that I'm super, super excited and ecstatic and just, yeah, over the moon about. The rarest perfume that I have in my collection. Now, honestly, I stopped collecting rare fragrances basically because I found myself getting a little too attached to them. I don't know if that sounds kind of weird to you guys or not, but nostalgia is a big deal to me. And so things like Dior Homme, the vintage formulation, Escada Magnetism, Amber Absolute, things like that I grow an attachment to them because of these memories and whatever, like I'm sure a lot of you guys do, and guys and girls. And I'm one of those that no longer searches for rare fragrances for the sake of them being off the market. I thought that it was a lot of fun when I did chase fragrances like that for about 5 or 6 years, but at this point, you know, my Gucci Pour Homme 1 bottle's gone, M7's gone, the list goes on. The one fragrance I could not do without, that's like, this is just a staple for me, and it just marks such a pivotal moment in my fragrance reviewing career that I couldn't go without it, and I use this very sparingly, but this is Silver Factory by Bond No. 9, which has been altogether discontinued now. It went from this to when they were stripped away from their Andy Warhol rights for using his art for their bottles, to just being Silver Bond, and now they no longer make it at all. So I think that this is currently the rarest fragrance in my collection because, again, I don't own a lot of those other ones, and this one's not going anywhere. Fragrance from my favorite band. So my favorite band is Foster the People. They are amazing live if you're into that like indie synth pop kind of music. And I think for them, I don't have a name off the top of my head. I'm not going to get too involved in all the detail of what I would create for them. But I think because I find them to be very electric, I find their energy to be something that's very, I don't know, it manifests itself in such a positive way that you can just feel it and take it on, and it becomes part of you, that energy. I would do something that's based around mint and pretty bergamot, a very sparkly bergamot with some mint, with some woods and stuff like that in the undertone, since a lot of their lyrics are pretty heavy. So having it come off as being like very ethereal, contemplative, but refreshing. I think that that's the best way to describe it. I hope that there's some Foster the People fans out there. The most expensive perfume regret. Yeah, so Blind Buy. I've got two. One is Fucking Fabulous by Tom Ford. Couldn't get behind it, still can't get behind it. It still smells like it's missing something to me. I don't get it. It smells like it's on the brink of being a masterpiece, honestly, because it smells like the skeleton of a Guerlain fragrance to me, but it's just missing something. It's missing some kind of density. And my most regrettable blind buy, even though it wasn't that expensive, it was about $150 for me, was when I was on a leather kick years and years ago, probably, again, almost 10 years ago, when I had discovered Tuscan leather. I blind bought Oud Cure de Araby by Montel, and holy crow, that is straight up barnyard cow shit. Okay, you want to smell like a cow patty? Go for Oud Cure de Araby, because that's what you're gonna get. Those two are probably my most regrettable blind buys because they're just so expensive for me to be incredibly disappointed. So I hope you all enjoyed the Show Me Your Spritz. Speaking of which, why not, right? Spritz some of this on. I do a little dab. There you go. An actual spritz out of me. So I would love to go ahead and tag a couple people. I'm going to be honest with you. I am not up to date with who has or has not done this altogether. I saw a few, but I have been working, 50, 60 hours a week still during all this. So I have been very, very busy. But I would love to see Eric Hill from Centrifugal Force. I'm a huge fan. He and I have never had a conversation. I don't know why, but I love his taste and I love his take on fragrance. I would love to see what he has to say for this particular video. I would love to see what my good friend Renee Zayas has to say. And I would love to see what Stefan from Stefan Fragrance has to say. So you three, if you have not done this video yet and you would like to participate, no pressure, I would love to see what you have to say. I hope you are all having a wonderful and lovely week so far and keeping safe. I love you all, and I will see you all soon.